Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shaking the Damn Table. This week is different as hell. I don't even know how to start this off for real, but I guess, well, for all the people who do not live in Birmingham, Alabama, I'm going to give a little backstory about Birmingham. So, we know Birmingham, Alabama, my father's the pastor of 16th Street Baptist Church, and that's the church that's mainly known for being bombed in 1963 and killing 4 little girls, which sparked a lot within the civil rights movement and actually, helped with us getting change and being able to integrate. But Birmingham, no place is absorbed from racism or anything. So what Birmingham did after that, if you're not from Birmingham and you go to Birmingham, there's a lot of little cities within Birmingham, but those cities are basically still Birmingham. But at the time, they were made because white people didn't want to be integrated downtown and in the majority of, Birmingham city limits, so they made their own city. One of those cities is good old Hoover, Alabama. And if you don't know nothing about Hoover, Alabama, just look it up and you will find something. I promise you. Recently, they were most known for the killing of E.J. Bradford during Thanksgiving time, 2018. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah.
And that sparked a lot of nationwide interest in the protests that were happening. Ben Crump was on the case. And even to now, we're still demanding for the release of the full video because they had not released any officers' names. They basically just killed him in the middle of a mall in front of a bunch of people, and there was no repercussions from it, which we know to happen in most of these cases that have been going on. So, to say that, we're getting into like a little story time. This, like I said, this week is not how we normally do stuff. We had a whole topic until yesterday that we were going to do. But, so, because of all the protests and stuff that's been happening throughout the country with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, we've been out here protesting in Birmingham and Birmingham city limits and in all other city limits, such as Hoover. And also redemanding justice for EJ, since that never happened. So Hoover was predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of blacks and Latinos moved over there once, when you get to the places that are coming up and stuff like that and people starting to move on up, basically, they will move to Hoover because that was basically moving on up. And also their football team was on that show 2-A-Days. They used to come on MTV, so a lot of black players went to Hoover to, pursue football and stuff like that as well. So I went out to a protest yesterday, and, we were peacefully protesting. I mean, we barely even protested, let's be honest about that. I was out there for like 15 minutes, if that. Legit. My live was 7 minutes long. So I got arrested by Hoover police officers. So basically, where we protest and where we have been protesting since EJ was killed was outside of their library, which is attached to their city hall. So it's basically this like grass area that's in front of leading into going up into where the parking lot is for the library and city hall and stuff. Being on grass and protesting is not illegal. Like I said, we've been doing this for a long time as well, and there was never any problems. But Hoover likes to make their own rules. So basically, they created what they called a barricade to not have us on the grass. But what it actually was like this enclosed barricade that was like a queue, like you're going into a line for a ride, like Six Flags.
Mm-hmm.
So there was never any distinction. There was never any communication as far as hey, y'all can protest, but y'all can't protest here. None of that. So as soon as we go over there, we're in a line on the grass. Nobody's in the road. Nobody stepped in the road. None of that. They make their own little line. Start getting on their walkie-talkies, start talking to one another, and basically it's like hearsay, oh, y'all can get arrested. But it's never direct. So we ask them questions like, so are y'all going to arrest us? What are you going to arrest us for? Et cetera, et cetera. Nobody talks to us. So after a while, we all started to move, which is complying since you told us that we couldn't stay right there. So I was walking, and my friend Gabby and her boyfriend were walking ahead of me, and this other guy, Michael, who I rode with, was ahead of me, and I was looking for my friend Mark, who was behind me. So I turned around, and I was like, where's Mark? And I looked, and I saw him and saw that he started coming towards that way. So I was like, okay, he's good, because they were enclosing in on the rest of the other protesters that were closer to the street. I was like, okay, he's good, he's coming. So I turned around and started walking again. Then all of a sudden I just feel somebody grab me from behind. And let me tell y'all something. I am not the person who likes people behind me unless I know that you're behind me. I don't like people grabbing me and like just out of nowhere, because instinctually I will react to hit you. And if I would have reacted instinctually, it would have been worse. But whose fault would have that been? Because you grabbed me while I'm not paying attention to you, and we had no conversation prior to this. Mm-hmm. So that kind of like, you know, I don't know, it's like you recognize that after a while. Like in the moment at first, it's just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And he continued to like pull my arm back like he was arresting me and shit. And I was just like, explain to me what's going on, because how are you going to come around here and randomly choose me from all these people who are walking and complying and decide that I need to be detained when I've done nothing? And what pissed me off the most was I was walking side by side to a black cop, and that man ain't say shit. Girl, I can tell the hell out of that man. I was sitting up there like, as a black man, you gonna sit here and act like I wasn't just walking down here with you? And then the guy, like, the guy was just like lying and shit like that, and then just trying to make things better, because once people saw that he grabbed me and everything, everybody was like, why are you grabbing her? Like, what's the problem? What's going on? And he didn't want to talk to them because apparently they don't like to answer for shit. But it's like, you can't be in a position of power and use your power but not answer why you used it. You don't just get to do whatever the fuck you want. So he got mad because they were trying to talk to him and shit. He was like, she's just being detained right now. Why is between me and her? And I said, you didn't tell me, so why am I being detained?
Exactly.
So then he was saying, like, well, I got to go check with my lieutenant or whatever, who's, like, over in the street where everybody else was at or whatever. He was like, I got to go check with my lieutenant to make sure that you weren't one of the people he told to go back. I said, first of all, I'm on live right now. If you want to check if anybody talks to me, I didn't talk to nobody. But if you go over there, that white man is going to say, take her black ass to jail because I am a black woman. So what are you clarifying here? What are you asking for? Like, you're not asking for anything. You just want to act like you have a reason to arrest me when you don't. Because I wasn't talking to nobody. I wasn't doing nothing. You saw me a good enough distance away to where nobody else could stop you from doing what you were trying to do, so you felt like you had a right to put your hands on me, but you don't. So, girl, I was 38 hot. And the whole time what pisses me off the most is that you can't even be mad enough for real, because at the same time, in the back of your mind, you got to compose yourself a little bit to level with them, even though they're the ones being unreasonable.
Right. Even though they're the ones that's in the wrong, because you were not in the wrong whatsoever.
I'm like, so when did our First Amendment rights get taken away in Hoover? Because y'all don't have the power to do that.
Exactly. And then I have a question. By him sticking up behind you, and without even announcing that he was going to arrest you, isn't that itself illegal?
That's a good question. Because I was like, I don't get how you feel like you can do this.
Right, because you had no conversation prior with any of the officers. You were complying with the orders to move on to the next location that they told you, and you was headed that way. So what in his mind made him feel like it was okay just to choose you, a very small black girl, out the whole entire group to arrest when you wasn't being loud, when you wasn't being disobedient? Well, I'm not going to say disobedient, but defiant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why?
I feel like it was literally because he was like, oh, look, I can just grab her.
Right. Because it's in a sense, the way it makes it is like, oh, he can literally just pick you up and throw you over his shoulder and take your ass to jail.
Right. And basically,
which is not right at all.
And it's not. And then I feel like, and I don't know if it was like, I felt like he was doing this intentionally or if it was just because of, like, the recent situation with Meg Thee Stallion. I don't know if you saw the video of her getting out the car with the cops or whatever. And they were basically yelling at her, like, all these different instructions, like, take 2 steps this way, take a step back, do X, Y, and Z or whatever, as she's bleeding out of her foot. Right. He kept doing shit like that to me. Like, he'd be like, oh, stay here. Oh, come with me. Come over here. I'd be like, do you want me to stay or do you want me to go? Because you're not going to shoot me.
Right. Exactly. And I can only imagine being in your position because of all this that's going on in this climate, and it's like, how are you really supposed to react when he's being forceful and you did absolutely nothing wrong?
Absolutely nothing wrong. And then and I keep going back to him because I'd be like, this is why I'd be like, we talk so much about, oh, we just need more black police officers and more like more black people in these fields. No, we don't if they're not going to do shit. Because if you going to sit there and let a white man come grab me from behind when me and you are walking parallel and you didn't say shit to me, who else would have said shit to me? Because there was nobody else over there. I didn't even see that man coming.
Right.
And then he act like, oh, I didn't see nothing. What did you get in front of? So he got in front of me to get in between Gabby, who was coming to be like, why are you touching her? Like, don't touch her and shit.
Oh, right.
But you didn't see shit.
Right. So that now makes me think, oh, they were plotting on doing something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't feel comfortable because at the end of the day, when you take the uniform off, you are a black man.
Exactly.
And as a black man, you are supposed to defend and support black women, and not even black women. I'm pretty sure you were younger than him, so technically you could have been his daughter. So you have to defend black children as well.
Right. And I look, I laid it into their ass because, shit, if y'all gonna arrest me, I'm talking shit, bitch. So I was sitting over there like, I know you can't sleep at night doing the job that you do. And it's just like, y'all be sitting over here. I was like, I hope you enjoy, like, the power that you have right now because you're not more powerful than God. So while you taking your power and trying to abuse it for no reason, you sitting up here lying on video talking about, oh, she's just detained. Then why did I go to jail? Nobody read me right.
And that's another thing. Since they didn't read you your rights, that's illegal too. And they should be suspended or something because it don't matter what you're getting arrested for. They should always read you your rights. Right.
Because you can't just say, oh, she detained and she detained. And I said, what do I need to be detained for? When did I do anything to you? What What showed you that I needed to be detained?
Right.
So, girl, it was just like, it's a lot of emotions as far as that goes because, like I said, like even with the Meg situation and that, it's just like little things like that just pop into your mind that just makes, like, I mean, for one, it makes it put into perspective how easy it is to become a hashtag because he could have easily shot me in the back.
Right.
And I would have never seen that shit coming.
Exactly. And then I also seen a video, not a video, but a photo on Facebook, how another white officer approached another protester from behind and was about to grab her hands, and literally her hands are by her side and she's looking for it, and she doesn't even know that he's there. So that makes me like, wow, that's crazy. And then it's even crazier because now I actually know somebody who was put in that position, and it's like, what can we do as a community to actually, better our police force besides actually giving them the proper training that they need, and for them to go through a mental test or something, or a class or something, because how can you be put in this position and you singling people out and you think shooting black people is a fucking sport, and like that is very disgusting, and for them to just like attack black people as a whole, it's not mind-boggling because we've been dealing with it for over 400 years, but it's crazy enough to, like, as time is progressing, like, why are we not progressing? Why are we still stagnant and everything? And then that made me think of another point when I saw a post on Facebook. It was a white man standing on the Hoover sign in that same area, but it was black people. Protected them. And then when black people were literally standing in front of it, not even standing on it, just in front of it, in that grassy area that you was talking about, but you want to jump and hop and skip to arrest them when they were literally doing nothing.
Right. And even going back to your point, talking about, like, them coming from behind, that just made me think, like, is that a tactic to get people to react a certain way so then you can have a motive to what you do next? Because if you grab most people from behind, they don't know who you are, and if you grab them forcefully, they're going to react to, like, hit you.
Exactly. And that's with anybody, with people who have selected.
Right. So it's just like, the tactics and the little motives and stuff like that, it was just like very clear to me once I was put in that situation. And then he continued to lie on me, like when I got on the bus and stuff like that or whatever, they have you like fill out a little sheet of information, or they tell you basically like fill it out for you. So I was handcuffed. Everybody was not handcuffed. Some people had like zip ties or whatever, but they gave me the real cuffs. But they like fill it out or whatever, and you know me, I was like, what you writing? Like, what you putting me down for since you want to talk this shit? Like, don't be putting no extra charges on that hoe.
Exactly.
But they got me for disorderly conduct, which honestly, you couldn't hold that up in the court of law because you ain't even see me chant shit on live. Like, I didn't even protest, to be honest.
Evidence.
He's on multiple people's lives lying, saying that, oh, she's only detained, she's not arrested, as he starts to carry me to the van to be arrested.
Right. When he puts you in the actual handcuffs, but you're not arrested.
But I'm not arrested. Because the first thing I said was, because first of all, you coming behind me and grabbing me, I don't even know who you are. So I turn around like, what the fuck? And then I see you, a police officer, trying to arrest me. I'm like, what are you arresting me for? I'm not resisting arrest, but
right.
There's nothing to arrest me for. If I literally just complied to what you said, what am I being arrested for? And that answer never came.
So let me ask you this, because like I was telling you earlier, I remember you put together that dive-in protest in the mall, and a lot of people participated, and it was very peaceful. We didn't have no altercations with that I know of. And can you explain the difference between that one and, like, please let the viewers know, like, what year that was in. But, like, can you explain the difference between that protest and this current protest?
So I didn't put that one together, but they ended up interviewing me for it. That was in, what year was that? That was like 2017, 18 or something. But no, it was 18. Yeah, it was after EJ. So yeah, we did like a die-in. We like marched around the mall, then we came to the food court and laid down for like a minute or a certain amount of time or whatever. And just marched around and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. That's why I say with Hoover, that's why I had to break down the history for the viewers, because it's not just it's kind of like how our country works, where yes, we have federal laws, but state laws are completely different. And can be whatever they want. That's how you had Jim Crow stuff happening in Alabama heavy, but other places weren't experiencing the same thing. So Hoover is like that in Birmingham. They make their own laws. I feel like this and the fact that they have gotten so much pressure from the EJ situation has made them basically like, we just don't want to see y'all motherfuckers here at all. Like, we're just going to ignore the fact that y'all are even trying to be here. If y'all even, like, come to us with protests, peaceful or not, we're shutting it down.
Right.
Because that's all the energy that was. Because literally, like I said, we were not out there for no amount of time. Like, people keep asking me what happened, and I'm literally like, when my live started, the protest started.
Right.
And it was like a 7-minute live. So it was literally, there was no chance, no nothing. We literally congregated on the side. We're like, okay, y'all, this is what we're going to do. We walked over there, bam. It's a whole line of police officers in front of us. And then they started like, and that was the other thing. They started like some going around the sides and stuff like that and walking. It was like they were enclosing us. So that they could just run in and grab and get us.
Right.
And it's just like, I don't know what the difference is, because I've also been to protests in Hoover in the same spot and had no issues. Shit.
Right.
We actually were in the street for EJ and marched and stopped traffic and marched to Galleria Mall. Nobody got arrested.
No problem.
No problem.
Definitely going to say it's the pressure, because Hoover and let alone the mall has been in the news way too often lately, and they have never been in the news. So it's like they want to try and maintain this image and make sure that, you know, that everybody who lives in Hoover feels safe. But how can people feel safe if you just all of a sudden now basically attacking people from behind when they are doing absolutely nothing? Right.
And see, he messed up because I guess he didn't think I was on live.
Right.
That's probably what he did. Right. But that's what I was saying. I was like, if you going to ask your officer, your lieutenant, if he talks to me, I'm giving you proof right here. I am on live right now.
Right.
So fuck me if you want to.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's and even past like the arrest, getting into like jail and stuff like that or whatever, I feel like I said, I don't really feel, I don't know, I don't like necessarily feel like I feel a way about like me being arrested or anything, like, oh, I got arrested, like it can't, like it don't really have nothing to do with me. Like, it was more so the emotions that I absorbed from other stories and other people that I know by experiencing some of the same things. Right. And I feel like, when it's you, it's different, because even like when I was in jail, so I was the darkest girl there. The other two black girls that were there were more fair skinned. I was the last person out of everybody, boys and girls, to be processed. And it took hours for them to process us. But it was to a point where it was just kind of like, just deliberate. So thankfully, what I do want to say is shout out to the white people that have been coming out to these protests and stuff like that, because I feel like there's a difference between them this time around when it comes to like protesting as far as any other ones, because they now have more knowledge of what they can do with their power in those situations to protect us. So it was a couple of white people who went to jail for me because they saw what was going on and came to intercept. And, you know, he was talking all his shit or whatever. Was like, well, y'all can go too. They said, all right, bet, let's go.
Right.
It's like, we're not going to let her just go, so let's go.
Right.
So I appreciate that for sure. And then, like, when we were in jail, this other white girl, she was like, everybody else got processed, and she was just like, you didn't get processed yet. So she made sure to keep being like, hey, get her next. Yeah. Last name Price, go get her next. And then eventually when I had asked after somebody else had came back or whatever into our cell, I was just like, what's taking so long? Are y'all not going to process me? And he was like, oh, your name Price? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, you can come now. I was like, okay.
Right.
So you got to get processed first, then you get put back in before you get bonded out.
Right.
So the white girl who I was telling you about, she had already been processed, and they called her again to bond her out. And she used her privilege as she was getting bonded out to talk to them. And she said, the next person that y'all need to process needs to be her. Otherwise, we going to raise some hell. Because y'all not leaving her in that cell alone.
Exactly.
So for that, I definitely, like, I fully appreciate, you know, how that was handled and just how, like, white people have been using their privilege for, you know, the good. It was people who've been in there for, this was like they 6-7 times being in jail. So, you know, they were used to it. And they knew, like, who was like what in there and what their system was like and what kind of stuff they be trying to do or whatever. But they had us in there for hours. Like, I got bonded out like 11 something, and my friend Mark, who I came with, he was like one of the last people to get out. So that was like closer to 12 o'clock or so.
Right.
But we had been there since, I mean, the protest started at 5:30 and shit. We probably got arrested at like 5:45 since that shit didn't last that long.
Exactly.
So we had been there since forever.
Right.
And there was also people who were already in the cells before we got there. So it was, right. So it was 2 women who were in our cells before we got there. They had like, you know, those like gym mats. They just had like a singular strip of a gym mat to sleep on and like a blanket. And one of the ladies, which that's why I was saying, like, as far as me, it's just like so beyond that for me, because one of the ladies in there, like, she didn't need to be in no damn jail cell. Like, she was mentally unstable. She was talking to her, like, having full conversations with herself. There was times we would like talk to her when she wasn't being like aggressive or anything like that. But yeah, so it was just like, it was sad to see something like that. And then she was begging for food since we got there, and she didn't get it until like 2 hours later. Talking about where you been there, where's it?
Okay.
And that's why I was just like just all the little stuff was pissing me off versus like the fact that I'm arrested. Because I don't know, since I found out about like slavery and the civil rights movement, I was like, I always knew, hey, shit, if it came down to it, if I was there, I'd go to jail.
Right.
So I just did it. So that to me wasn't like a thing necessarily. It's just like all the emotions attached to it, and just like, you know, you think of any story. Shit, I thought of Corey going into jail, somebody being innocent, going into jail, and then never getting out.
Exactly.
And then now how your day started to being into a cell, and then that's all you know for the rest of your life.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a lot to process as far as that, and just as far as like what to do.
Right.
And then like, this shit is stupid. Like, court date ain't until fucking January.
Why so far out?
13th. Because they want you to forget about this shit so they can put a warrant out on you or something. Like, I just don't.
That's the point there.
Yeah.
And that's why like the whole system itself, because it's like they want black people to be in there because they're making money off of us. It's modern day slavery, basically.
Oh, yeah, shit, if we had like 30-something people in there, if all of our bonds were like $500, but if our bonds were like $1,000,
right,
you'd have made $3,500.
Exactly. Just like that in a few hours.
And you don't even have to be, like, your claim doesn't even have to have basis to it.
Right.
You literally just baseless claim, and you just made some money. And that's why I told you I was talking shit. I was being petty. I was like, I hope you made your quota this damn month, since you wanted to hurry up and rush before the month ends and just grab all the
right. Exactly.
He said, shit.
That probably made him even madder.
Right. That shit is ridiculous. It's like, you have no claim to grab me. You ain't got no evidence that I said nothing to nobody, because I literally said nothing to nobody except for asking them, what is the charge? What are you telling us to do?
Right.
What is the reason? Because we did nothing wrong.
Right.
So now you're just violating my rights. And at this point, I want to sue the whole department and get my millions. Go fund my ass.
Exactly. And that's my next question. Because of me not reading your Miranda rights, and because him not actually telling you what you were being arrested for, and touching you and like sneaking up behind you, are you planning on like suing or taking it to court or going further with that?
I ain't thought that far yet.
Okay.
But shit, if I can, and shit, I'll be Annalise Keaton like a motherfucker.
For sure.
Walking in like Viola Davis and everything.
Right.
But I mean, I definitely am going to reach out to Richard again. I was telling Jasmine earlier, to all the viewers and stuff, that clearly that was the perfect timing for us to have that conversation with Richard, because clearly I needed to know my protest rights, because my ass is going to jail.
Exactly.
But I'm definitely going to talk to him and get more advice as far as like what the outcome could look like, because I am definitely all for accountability to them motherfuckers and making sure that they see my end to this. I personally have a vendetta now against the police department, and I will more than happily take y'all asses down. And you can quote me on that.
She's coming.
She is here.
She has arrived.
Right. Y'all done locked the wrong bitch up. But yeah, and I didn't even touch on them operating in a pandemic. Because you have about you have over 10 women in one cell. You have a bathroom, or really just a toilet in the cut, with no door and no sink. Right. So people just, using the bathroom.
Doing their business in front of strangers.
We had to keep blocking, whoever went to the bathroom, so the men couldn't see through.
Exactly.
Don't look that shit at all.
Exactly.
And then it's just like, where's the sanitation? Y'all should be putting little hand sanitizer things all throughout the cell or some shit.
Exactly. And then how you all gonna be in the cell and we supposed to be 6 feet apart?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, there's as much money as y'all got, y'all funding only benefits the officers, and it don't reflect nowhere in that department. They had one machine, and shit, I had even said to the officer, whatever, who was doing the fingerprint, he had wiped it off with this dusty ass thing. I said, how do y'all clean that? Because that shit look unsanitary.
Exactly.
And then he gonna tell me, he was like, well, I only been here for 6 months. And I was like, you been a cop for 6 months, or you just been in Hoover for 6 months? He was like, oh, I just been in Hoover for 6 months. I was like, where you come from? He was like, Chilton County. I said, oh, so you used to this? He was like, protesting? No. I said, no racism.
Just like that.
Just like that. And he was like, no. I was like, Then he wants to talk about, yeah, my brother's an officer in Childersburg. I was like, that shit ain't no better. I was like, yeah, my dad was a DA in Philly. He was like, oh, he was a district attorney? I said, now take my ass back to the cell.
Exactly. Disney.
Right. I was like, yeah, and then, yeah, I mean, they don't know who I am. So there's a whole nother thing as far as my dad being the pastor at 16th Street Baptist Church. But good luck, Hoover, the whole city, on getting that church to do much for you. Because at this point, it's pretty dead. And I already got like a built-in lawyer with him, so.
Exactly. You're covered, basically.
It really. But I mean, one thing I do want to definitely acknowledge too is how like organized the efforts to get protesters out of jail has been, as far as the bail fund and Star Rob and everybody who's over that. Because, you know, not knowing, being in there, but from hearing from like my friends and everything who were trying to figure out what's going on at the point, you know, bail was paid for a while before we actually got out, because people have been consistently putting into the bail fund and stuff like that every time there's a protest, just in case. And, you know, it's not easy getting that much money for that many people in a drop of a hat. So, you know, for them to be able to have been really organized with that and to help us get out quicker was definitely, you know, it was a good thing to see how well we have organized that on our front. And that's why so many people, you know, feel more comfortable with going to jail in a group like that. Because we all, you know, created a community within there. I mean, we were just chilling in the cell, just waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. But, I mean... It's, yeah, like I said, it's a lot to take in. Like I said, it's easier to see how easy it is to be a hashtag dealing with that, because literally you can comply, you can do whatever, and they still can come grab your ass from behind and do whatever they want. Like, there is no laws in the streets when it comes to them. I mean, they basically work like gangsters.
They just pay for it.
Exactly. And it's legal.
Exactly. So after all of this, how is your mental health right now?
I've been, I mean, you know, it's just happened yesterday, but I've been just like trying to process. I definitely am going to take, you know, some time to myself to just kind of like write some stuff down. I was listening to Solange, Seat at the Table. You know, Mad really got me through, because everything she said in that song, you know, is correct. You got the right to be mad, but as soon as you are, they're going to label you as whatever.
Right.
And they're going to act like you don't.
Right.
But, you know, I was talking to some people, like, you know Blevins, right? And he had got arrested, for people who don't know. He got arrested by Hoover, like in the beginning of all this stuff. He was like one of the first people to like get arrested by them in the beginning of these like recent protests and everything. Like he hit me up, and some other people who had been through like similar stuff kind of hit me up and was just like, you know, if you need anything as far as like just venting or anything like that, you know, do that, and just, you know, make sure that you do keep taking time for yourself and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to be aware of any feelings and thoughts that I have and stuff like that. And that's why, like, I brought up like a couple of different like instances that like I felt in the moment, because like it was like, I'll be honest, it was a moment that I was just kind of like, if you're gonna shoot me, just do it then, like.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you acting like you're gonna do. So it's really, it's just difficult to really find, you know, where you stand within that emotions, because it's just kind of like it kind of reminded me of like men who grow up in the hood and stuff like that, and at first they may hear like fuck 12 or whatever, but not until they experience it do they really gain the hate.
Right.
And I'm like, y'all are giving me a real hate beyond just experiencing it from other people. Since y'all want to be able to, use your power however you want to, you literally grab anybody. You'll literally kill anybody.
Mhm.
So it's just processing what you already know in a more real way.
Mhm. I hate that happened to you, but there's always a lesson in the experiences, and it's for a good cause at the end of the day, because justice is going to be made, and they're going to get what's coming to them.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Hoover gonna hate my ass. But like you said, it's for a good cause and it's for a different purpose, which is another thing that's just like taking the time to really evaluate what the purpose is and like the next step that I should take, and just continuing to demand justice for people who have been wrongly killed. But like for anybody who's in Birmingham or any other cities, I suggest that you become familiar with the organizers within your cities. Find the bail funds, donate to them, share whatever petitions. Just like do your part any way that you can, even if it's like you don't got no money, you won't do that. So you can just call up there when people are arrested and demand for their freedom, or even just come up to the jail, like after we got out, that was a good thing. Like I said, one of the good things that I got from it was the sense of community. Even when we got out, everybody sitting in the lobby, they had food ready for anybody who wanted some, they were playing music, and they cheer everybody who comes out. So it was just kind of like, we're all in this together kind of thing. So you can even come out, just be a cheer, or bring a pizza, bring something, or just bring yourself to be a support. So I just feel like, we all just have to find a way to do our part within what's going on, because that's the only way that it's going to completely, we'll be able to have a united front to actually get something done besides Black Lives Matter painted in the damn street. But y'all, I'll post my my mug shot when it come out.
It's gonna be cute.
I hope so. Little did I know I got my hair done just for my mug shot. And they make me take out my jewelry, so.
Bruh.
But thank y'all for tuning in to a jailbird story. I don't know what the name of this episode is going to be, but
right.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Continue to watch all the different things that we got going on. Like we have meditation, which I'm definitely going to need this Monday. On Mondays, with Melanin Jules and Mother Earth, every other Monday rotating. And then we also have Black Rights Matter and stuff like that with Richard Rice, if y'all want to know about the conversation that we had that I needed before going out. And we have some more stuff in the works as well. So we hope that y'all continue to share, subscribe, like, comment, blah, 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 and support. All of that, period. See y'all next week.
We can be here. I can't be in front of all y'all, but I can be in front of some of y'all. We got his hair on the pepper spray, y'all. Please arrest me for standing on the grass. Please. barricade if it's a circular barricade? All of them are gonna arrest all of them that are behind the barricade. What barricade? What do you mean? What's behind the barricade if it's a circular barricade? What's the barricade? This looks like this is inaccessible. No one is here. How do I get here? Wait, how do I get in there? Everyone on the line, one line. One line. Everyone on the line. This looks like it's barricaded. Is there anyone here? No one is here. That is free space. This is free space. What is past the circular barricade? So, if you move in on a non-violent protesters, you are wrong. Hoover, wrong. Hoover, wrong. Say it with me. Hoover, wrong. Hoover, wrong. Hoover, wrong. Stupid. This is stupid. That's no reason.
Already like this.
This is stupid. It's a fucking circular barricade. Are you kidding me? They can keep that. They can keep that. Ain't nobody blocking the barricade. No. Why are you addressing our protesters? What is it?
I pay you. Everybody go this way.
I don't even know what the fuck. So what are we doing?
We're going around because we can't go that way.
This shit is stupid.
Hold the barricade back around.
For what? Can you explain the exact charge to us? Like, what's the problem? Are you trying to cuff her? What's the charge? What's the charge, Pete? Yeah, please tell me what the charge is. I was watching on the front, not in the back. If y'all don't try to say so y'all gonna grab us?
You too. Can you hear?
I'm trying to get clarification from my supervisor. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. And here's the thing. If this goes one of the wrongs, guess what? She's detained. She's not under arrest. She's going to be released and she's going to go.
You mind if I stand right here? This is my friend. She's my buddy.
I've been on live this all the time, so you want to see if anybody says something to me? Don't tell her to calm down when she's in handcuffs. Let her go.
We're working on it.
Work it. Let her go. I'm like, it's not that hard. Is it that hard?
Everybody put your hands behind your back.
No. No, we're not letting her go. Like, what's the thing?
What am I doing? What?
Is this the new law you made up, Hoover? Are you arresting him? Can you answer me that? Is this the law you made up?
She obeyed what the officer said. For what? We're not doing what? This is public property.
You literally told me. You grabbed me out of 5 people who was walking the same way and didn't say shit to them.
Everybody that's on this side of America.
No one said that. No one told me. Under arrest.